fucking get up! Please stop! Please don't shoot! Joel, please get up!
Naughty Dog murdered Joel in cold blood. An unwanted fate destined to arrive sooner or later. But is there a way Joel could have survived? Is there any chance he could have cheated destiny? Can the cycle of violence end before the bloodshed is unleashed? In this new episode in the Deep Dive series for the Last of Us franchise, we'll search for clues during the last hours of Joel's life, trying to find any opportunity at hand that could have been used to escape from Abby's wrath. Anything that could bring some comfort to the Last of Us fanbase on one of gaming's most tragic and divisive deaths, the loss of Joel Miller. But before we begin, make sure to smash that subscribe button so you don't miss on any of the upcoming PlayStation Studio documentaries that I will be publishing ahead this year for some of your favorite PlayStation IPs like The Last of Us, God of War, and more. But without further ado, let's try to save Joel Miller.
There you go.
It is ironic, to say the least, that the tragedy of Joel's death is his own fault, as it unfolds with the bullet fired from Joel's own gun that kills the runner attacking Abby during the tragic winter storm. This is the first missed opportunity for him to survive, as Tommy and Joel could have just ignored Abby and run for their lives. But what made Joel try to save her future murderer? Looking at the situation as an outsider, it even seems like the old lone wolf is committing one rookie mistake after the other during the opening act of The Last of Us Part 2. What made Joel trip over with these mistakes? The thing is, what should have been a no-brainer decision for him years before is now a lot more complicated because Joel is not thinking only about himself anymore. And the real culprit in this decision is Jackson, their beloved hometown. Ever since joining the community of the town of Jackson, Ellie and Joel became an important part of it thanks to their experience facing the dangers of the outer world, with Joel even becoming a leader within the patrols that kept the town safe. The biggest clue about Joel's behavior comes within one of the logbooks found in the Mountain View's outpost, where we see a mention by Dina and Jesse of a time where they followed a set of footprints, finding a family which was brought back to the safety of the walls of Jackson. If the orders given to the patrolmen were to rescue and recruit any fitting survivors to strengthen the community of Jackson instead of shooting on sight, there was nothing that Joel could have done. But the truth is, besides the fact of this unwritten conduct code, the threat that Tony and Joel were facing in the lodge was too significant for them to overcome by themselves. They needed all the help that they could get. This is why Joel wasted that bullet and set everything in motion because he really didn't have a choice. Ironically, he did this in order to have a chance to survive. If there was no Horde present at the moment, there would have been time for a more thorough investigation of this newly found survivor. But with the runners breathing down their neck, a split-second decision had to be made, and it was for the worst. Immediately after, the second missed opportunity presents itself, to leave Abby behind after saving her from the attack at the fence, or basically any other opportunity further down the road. If Joel only wanted to clear his conscience by not watching Abby die in front of him, they could have just ignored and followed with their own plan. The fact is that Tommy and Joel had a great understanding of the layout of the lodge, as we can see them visiting this spot in Ellie's memories, where it seems that they have been there before, probably dozens of times over the years, thanks to their regularly scheduled patrols. But with Abby dragging them down and the sheer number of runners in the Horde, it was probably for the best that they stuck together indoors and not as sitting ducks outside, as it is easier to funnel enemies through certain choke points inside the lodge than to have to worry about being surrounded outside. And this keen thinking by Joel matched with their knowledge of the area paid off immediately, as they were able to escape using Abby's help to clear the infected and help them move the gondola to escape. Back at the entrance of the lodge, the third opportunity presents itself, lying about their names. Perhaps it was the adrenaline of the moment or Abby having fought by their side until this moment, but Tommy left his guard down by revealing their true names.
Hey, I'm Tommy. That's Joel. What's your name?
Abby.
Abby, are you okay?
The possibility that someone ever came hunting for a specific member of the Jackson community was slim to none, given that they would be vastly outnumbered, but nevertheless, this was not the first rodeo for the Miller brothers. They should have at least have a fake identity in case they get captured so they can protect themselves and the whole town during these regular patrols. It's very likely that Abby didn't even know what Joel looked like. The only clue she had was probably his name and a very vague description from any of the survivors back at the hospital. The problem is that the crazy bearded middle-aged man that escaped with a little girl can be the description of almost anyone if we take the data from the 2010 government census of the United States of America, the one closest to the original outbreak day in the game in 2014. And even when she had narrowed her search to Jackson, Wyoming, this mission was still like finding a nail in a haystack. The odds of Abby and her group not only finding the town of Jackson, but infiltrating and pinpointing Joel's location were so low, but fate works in strange ways, and after everything had aligned, Tommy delivered the missing piece on a silver platter. We even see her baffled at the moment of this reveal because she knew she had hit the jackpot. This was Conman Survival 101, and Tommy failed the test. From here, Abby takes control of the situation as the brothers argue for the best plan and redirects the group to the Lion's Den, where her group awaits. As they cross the gates of the Baldwin place, the last chance for them to survive presents itself. They could have used the distraction of the Horde attacking the gate. Here, a lot of possibilities could happen. For starters, knocking Abby down the horse would set them both free to run for the open garage door and locking them off momentarily. Right to the back of the property while getting out of sight by using Storm, or trying to escape through the back fence just like Ellie entered a few hours later. Perhaps even try to fight them off and take them one by one. This would have been probably the most desperate move, as they were clearly outnumbered against a group of well-trained military. But with the advantage of the horses, the knowledge of the surrounding area and the destruction of the Horde, it might have been a risk worth taking. Sadly, none of this was meant to happen, and after entering the mansion and unknowingly surrendering their gear, it was game over. Unless someone else could do something about it. Ellie could have saved Joel, or at least tried. If the odds seemed stacked against the Millers, Ellie's rescue would have been a miracle. But Joel had already performed such a rescue, didn't he? Why couldn't she? Well, the obvious fact is Ellie didn't know what she was dealing with, while Joel did. Not even when the WLF had left their guard down and had no one guarding the access to the house, leaving some of their gear and possessions unattended in the living room and the kitchen, or the way the screams and painful groans from Joel on the other side of the door hinted at what might be happening, Ellie wasn't prepared at all for what she was about to witness. But in that very hypothetical scenario that she was conscious that Joel was there in danger, and she needed to rescue him from the man inside, I think there was a Hail Mary she could have tried to either save Joel or have better odds against the WLF. This is my theory of what she could have done. Ellie could have climbed upstairs back to the living room, then stacked all the sleeping bags from Abby and her friends by the door, and grab the gasoline found near the duffel bags in the kitchen. Then make a small gasoline trail leading from the kitchen heading down the stairs, proceeding then to block the door with the nearby furniture and lighting the way with a log from the chimney. The smoke and fire would certainly grab the WLF by surprise, and their only way to escape would be either by climbing up the stairs where Ellie would be waiting for them to try to open the door and shoot them one by one, or by smashing their way through the glass panels covered in snow to get outside and escape. In this situation, Abby could either finish her job or use that club to help open the windows, and there's a slim chance that with the fire spreading and the rush of the situation, they would have left Joel and Tommy behind to save their own skin and fight another day.
Joel, please get up!
The truth is, no matter how many scenarios we go over in our heads, Joel Miller is gone. Yes, Joel could have survived, but I think Neil Druckmann and his team took the hardest decision on the table and crafted one of the most impactful stories in the history of gaming. One that has ultimately divided the fanbase, but served as a true reminder of how gaming can be considered a form of art by itself when a talented team of developers like Naughty Dog is in charge, messing with our feelings, driving us mad through guilds, and begging us to consider the two sides of the coin for a story we had only seen that side until this moment. Now I would like to hear your theories in the comments on how could Joel have survived in The Last of Us Part 2. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel or even consider supporting via Patreon for free day early access to any upcoming video that I will produce here in the channel and other cool perks. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later on the B-side.